Thank you, Tasha. Okay, it is 6:05. I will call to order the April 1st meeting of the Amity City Council. Please rise and join me in saluting the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic on which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will start off with roll call, please.
Let's go hard quiz. President Michael Blanco. On Zoom. Rachel Blanco. Here. Chad Luker.
Present.
Caleb Shields.
Here.
Alice Thompson. Here. Mayor Rachel Kate.
Here. Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have our budget versus actuals, the goal setting minutes from February 28th, our regular council meeting minutes from March, and our March 18th work session as well. I will just note of two small changes that have been made. One was to change April 1st or April 8th to April 1st on the date of signing, and one was to correct Counselor Luker not being absent. Other than that, we can entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the consent agenda with the minor changes noted.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Consent agenda approved. We'll move on to citizen comments and questions. This is an opportunity to present items not on the regular agenda. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have anyone in the audience with a comment? Or anyone online? Seeing none. We will move on to the Yamhill County Sheriff's Office report. So if you're here for the presentation, this is actually Deputy Samberdike's moment. Do you have anything in addition to the monthly report? Okay. Any questions for the monthly report? Okay. And do we have anything from DIG this evening? Okay, I will just take a moment to thank our Downtown Improvement Group for a wonderful Daffodil Festival. In addition to Counselors Bajorquez and Thompson and Nathan for their help with that. We have one item of old business, so we'll move on to the wastewater facility planning study. Nathan, can you talk to us a little about what is before us?
Yeah, so this is a task order, a scope of work with Keller Associates to finalize the wastewater facility planning study. This basically I took council's feedback and we worked through a specific contract instead of just billing for time and materials. And this is the specific contract that they put together. The only thing different or the dates on there are not accurate. I haven't signed the task order yet, and we won't start until after. I'm waiting on one piece with DEQ. We're moving through a permit modification process that may change the ammonia limits for our wastewater permit, and we want their finalizing work to reflect all of the up-to-date information, including what that ammonia limit will look like. And so within the next month, I would anticipate having that permit mod from DEQ approved and then allowing Keller to move forward with that.
So question on that, with the effective date being March 10th, and then we'll be approving it April 1st, but you are still waiting on some things. Does that mean they'll be able to bill us back to 310? Or do we need an effective date of approval?
No, sorry, that effective date and the the schedule down below says consultant shall complete its services and submit a draft for client review by 4:30. Both of those will change. I brought a draft to the city council because I don't know exactly when, but that effective date will change to the date that we actually sign it. And then we'll probably give them 2 to 3 months after to finish up everything. So assuming DEQ keeps on, assuming their process stays on the schedule that they told me, I would guess of an effective date probably closer to 4/15. They said within a couple weeks I should know what DEQ is going to send to public comment. There's a chance for additional changes at the public comment level, but it's pretty limited and rare.
I just want some clarification because the last one has taken years. So we probably want to sign a contract with somewhat of a closer effective date and then have that client review date be because it holds them to having a draft by a certain date.
Mhm.
And if it's not going to be 4:30, could we change it in this meeting so we know what you're signing with them?
Yeah, I mean, if council wants to set a specific date, I was keeping that as a draft just because I don't know when exactly I don't know when exactly I was going to move forward with DEQ's numbers. But if we want to set a date, I think they've asked for a full 2 months. So if we give them anywhere that 2.5 to 3 months, I think that would be just fine. So if you wanted to plan for something,
Like July or August
that would
1st?
be plenty of time. Yeah.
Is there any questions on the task order from council? Or questions for Nathan?
I know that we discussed as a council that we wanted this to be through to completion. There's some ambiguity
Ambiguity.
in this task order. Was the conversation clear that they will see this through for this price?
I think so. And say my email conversation with Peter Olson at Keller Associates does say we want to guarantee that we're going to get to DEQ acceptance. And he said, okay, I'll add that in. I think that's what he tried to add in. It's not as strict of language as maybe it could be. And I can work with him on that language if you'd like. But the email conversation that we had was, I made it clear that we were targeting a final price to get through DEQ acceptance and cover everything we could need. So
Number 7, and then additional services. I mean, that isn't defined and could be any number of things they decide are additional services. And we're stuck with another higher bill for something that's drug on since.
Yeah, it's about the number 7 and it's like addressing comments doesn't.
Read completion to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that comments from DEQ have been going on for years on this, and I think everyone involved wants it wrapped up, but the city at what cost?
To take the ambiguity out of it, we could add, and it might add a little bit of cost, a couple $100, but a task 8 to present a DEQ accepted wastewater facility plan to Amity City Council. So once it's accepted by DEQ, they come present it. They usually charge us about $100 to $200 an hour for their time here presenting, depending on who does it. that leaves no room for. Yeah. Nathan, do you feel like that is an appropriate ask?
Yeah, I mean, that would certainly work. I'm happy to ask for tighter language on that number 7 as well. Whatever the council would prefer. If the council wants a presentation, I think I know they would be happy to. It does add that cost, but
I feel like we are going to need that at that point anyway, like we did when we approved it 4 years ago.
I.
And then a minor question, when the price is written out, it's 24,890, and then when it's written out in words, it's 90.
that's
And 21,000, not.
yeah,
24.
Yeah,
that's my fault.
Okay.
I made the edit that they wanted on the number, but they had sent it to me in Word, and so I didn't make the full change across. So
Okay.
use
So
the
it-
24,000.
$24,890. And then I'll look to council. Does that mean that we ask Nathan to bring another task order for approval back for council approval?
I think if we're okay adding number 8, I'm okay with like having number 8 and to have you use good judgment on just taking those out a little bit.
Counselor Luker or Blanco online? Is there anything you would like to add?
I don't have anything at this time, Mayor.
Councilor Blanco says he's mulling it over.
You have anything to add, Counselor Shields?
No, everything that I was gonna say has been said, so I don't need to repeat it.
And say the additional services is on every task order I've ever seen them put together. So
Just because they are saying they will do these things for this price, but if anything else comes up, they don't want us to be under the assumption they'll just give it to us. Unless there's objection, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the expenditure of up to 30,000 of CWSRF planning loan funds to update and complete the city's wastewater facility planning study with the discussed changes of revising the language in number 7, adding an item number 8, and updating the dates and clerical or grammatical errors, clerical errors in the contract.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to approve the expenditure of up to $30,000 for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Planning Loan Funds to update and complete the city wastewater facility plan study. Tightening the language on number 7, adding a number 8, changing the effective dates and draft dates, and making clerical errors as discussed. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. We will move on to our first item of new business, which is a presentation of annual statistics by the Yamhill County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, thanks for the invitation. I will say Captain Whitlow and I were going to kind of tag team this together, but he had a kind of a family emergency, so he's not going to be able to join us. So you should have been provided our annual report. Probably have that in front of you. I guess my point of clarification is I don't attest to be an expert in anything, but I'll do my best to get you answers if you have them. These are put together. They're rather comprehensive. I guess I would say that they're as accurate as we can get them without diving too far into the weeds on why something is. You'll see some changes. If you go to like page 1, for example, there's calls for service are up a little bit in 2024-25 compared to 23-24. The number of cases being taken are less, and then the number of cases ending in arrest is less. Well, that can be attributed to a few factors. One could be we have a deflection program with the county where instead of making an arrest and taking somebody to jail, they can go a deflection route and get the help they need, whether it's drug or mental health abuse. And it basically allows them an opportunity to not necessarily enter the criminal justice system. And it kind of takes that off their record and allows them to work with behavioral health and manage those cases that way. So there's also some interesting facts regarding that, which we publish on our county website as well, the deflection program, the number of people that are entered, who's offering those services, and it's pretty much countywide. It doesn't have to be law enforcement. It could be fire and EMS that contacts somebody and say, hey, you might need some help. So that's kind of something new this year.
And Yamhill County is leading the state
What's that? We are.
leading the state in the amount of people that have actually finished that program and deflected from.
Well, and it kind of boils down to what your definition of a successful completion of that program is. Some counties are a little bit different.
So to clarify, is it new as of 2025 or new as of 2026?
No, there's new avenues in 2025 that we started offering.
Okay.
And in 2026 as well. Sorry, let me back up. We've had it for 2. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. New opportunities presented with that. So page 2 is all calls for service by the primary respondent deputy. That's broken down basically on numbers of calls through our report management system. If you have questions about any of these, just let me know.
So the city/rural, is that when you're both
Both present for a call.
present for a call? Okay.
Yeah. Page 3, the top 20 calls for service by type. These aren't all the types. This kind of just hits on the high notes of all of them. Clearly, traffic stops are a big thing here. Follow-up and civil papers. Those seem to be the leaders for the past couple years. Which is a good thing. I mean, to be honest with you, Amity's more of a bedroom community. I would hate to see like a rise and huge uptick in burglaries and thefts and whatnot. So
What falls under information miscellaneous?
that's a whole gamut of things. It could be, hey, my neighbor is acting suspicious. It's not a crime. Maybe they want it documented because they want us to warn them about some behavior, but it doesn't reach that level of criminality. So it could be somebody knocks on the substation door here and says, I found this identification. So he would take a case number just to document we have it, get it back to the owner.
Would, and I'm sure that some of them are integrated in the ordinance follow-ups and issues. Those are kind of just spread throughout all of these items.
They are. If you look further, I want to say on page 6, talks about violations. It's asterisk, has an asterisk by a non-criminal offense. And then ordinance stuff are also classified with an asterisk under non-criminal offenses.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of a catch-all. It really is. Okay, we'll go to page 4. These are the top 20 calls. Like I said, it doesn't encompass everything, but it gives you the top 20 by type as a percentage of all calls. So you kind of like as we talked about traffic and civil and follow-up. There's a lot of follow-up that involves, it could be a 5-minute conversation with somebody, but there could be hours of follow-up they have to do to try to track down who actually said what or where the items are. So you'll see a lot more time spent on follow-up. And we'll move on to page 5. So all calls for service by day of the week. Obviously, you have 2 deputies assigned to this contract. One works Monday through Thursday, kind of a day shift, and then you have Deputy Samerdijk who works Wednesday through Saturday. So I would just kind of points that Sunday should be a low day because they're not out being proactive. Maybe people don't know they're here, so they're calling the main office instead of coming to the city hall. So there's multiple reasons for that, but we like to look, and we met kind of last week as an administrative group to figure out how we can dive further down into when the true calls are coming in, because just the only way to track it on our right now is for a case number to be taken or a CAD number to be generated, but it doesn't really incorporate everything that we're looking at. So long-term strategic planning for us is how we can really dive into the weeds with this and be able to provide that information of maybe you had 10 people call in and they lumped it in as one call, but really get down to some true numbers that would be beneficial if the council decides they want to do something different with the strategy they're employing with the deputies.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question and I don't know if that's what you just answered. So as far as like time of calls, if we wanted to break down these days of the week farther to see like 80% of our call volume happens between noon and 6 p.m.
Sure.
Are you able to do that right now?
Yes and no. Yes, we can. But that's what we're kind of working on because it's not always the contract deputy taking the call. And a lot of that stuff is from outside. So yes, that's what we're working on.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
Okay, it does. Yeah.
We're hopeful we get something in the works.
Because we would be curious to
Yeah.
know those. I think it would be a good, helpful decision-making factor.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, page 6. Oh, wait, did I already go? No, I didn't. All cases by uniform crime reporting. And this is one I was talking about with the asterisks you had asked about earlier. So it's kind of hard to read. I got readers here because I can't, but one asterisk includes violations, animal ordinances, littering offenses, etc. So we would lump the city ordinances in with that. 2 asterisk indicates motor vehicle crashes, non-criminal death investigations, and information reports. So there's a lot of that. I mean, you're going to get that through every contract. City is going to have a ton of this as far as non-reportable offenses. There's a lot. It's just because not everybody's as aware when they call something in. It might not reach that threshold of a crime. It could just be, this is great information. I'll document it for you. But criminally, there's nothing we can do. We just try to kind of guide them as far as what we can and can't do. And then page 7, this is case investigation status. I mean, the obvious ones are if you're arrested, that's documented. The administrative close, it's cleared by exception. There's a couple different factors that play into that. We could do a full-blown investigation, make an arrest, and the DA's office could say, it's not there, we're not going to prosecute, which has happened. They dismiss the charges, shows up as an arrest until they kind of reformulate things on the back when it probably could fall under cleared by exception or whatnot. But there's open cases. Those are ones that they're open because we need to solve them. There's ones that are pending, which kind of means I've done everything I can do. Now I just need to do this one part left to close this case out. And then there's the unfounded, which we can't prove what we need to prove, and the case just kind of sits there. And page 8, one of my favorites, traffic stops. I was a traffic hound here when I was here for a little bit. Talks about warnings and citations issued. It's like 78% they're issuing citations, 22. So if you're lucky enough, you're in that 22%, you don't get a ticket. Guess that's kind of nice. If you're in the 78, you get to see Tasha. So I don't know if you received this yet. I have March stats for this month. I don't know if they just came in, but yeah. Those are them. Anybody have any questions for me? I know you guys have looks like you guys have a full agenda. I'll promise I won't be long-winded. Just if you have a question, I'm happy to answer it.
I'm just wondering, I'm looking, what month do we have in this packet for statistics?
You'd have February.
Yeah, those ones were hot
Yeah,
off the
it's
press
February.
as of like.
Okay.
the
I was just
3 o'clock.
trying to see because our meeting is on the first, like if we're ever going to get where we have the
Oh,
most recent ones, but,
Well, you just got it.
right?
I'm not the one that puts those together, but I can tell you, Carol with our office, she's a whiz. She does all those fancy graphs and puts all that stat. And Captain Willis said, can you have it before the meeting tonight? So I
No,
think
it's,
it got-
and it's a big upgrade from,
Yeah, she's,
previous.
yeah, we're trying to present ourselves better. I remember when it used to be it was addresses and we just blacked them out. That's what we used to present to council.
Do we have questions for the sheriff's office?
I'll be the one. So I know I've asked before, but can Carol maybe put the percentages next to the item as a fillable?
I haven't even looked at that. Can I take a look?
Yeah. Only because sometimes when you print it or you're looking at it, it's hard to tell which color matches the
Oh.
actual grid.
So somebody you want this correlate with this?
No, just so it has the percentages here, but this green,
Oh,
how do I match it to that green on there, you know? But
She's good.
You could take that.
What's that?
You could take
Yeah.
that. But you're not.
It's fine.
And then I have a question that has came up a few times, and it seems this is just how you handle it, but Amity contracts for 2 full-time deputies. And so they have sick days, they have vacation days, sometimes they have to take leave. Is it just your procedure to not fill those because they are our employees?
It kind of depends. The way we've kind of approached it is by situation. So for example, quite a while ago, we had a deputy that broke his ankle in a foot pursuit in the city of Dayton, and he was going to be out for like 6 months. We put somebody new in there because we have the ability to do that. Now it shorted our rural patrol, but you're paying for a service. If it's an extended duration where somebody's going to be gone, we don't like to hold the seat. Like we're not going to say, yeah, sorry, Sam like broke his ankle tonight. You're not going to see him for 8 months, but you're still going to pay for him. We would augment the best we could. Sometimes that means assigning somebody temporarily for a couple months. Sometimes that means rural patrol. You're going to see them a bunch more, trying to keep those hours and make sure you guys are, I guess, as satisfied as you potentially could be. But contractually, it does say that, yeah, technically he's, in the words of the contract, he's allowed vacation days. We don't backfill those. Sick days, we don't backfill those. It's all part of the contract. But long durations where people are going to be out, we would do our best to put somebody in.
Yeah.
Like when I came down here, that's
Yeah.
because we were short. So for 6 months, I got to cruise around Amity and do my other job. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like the sheriff's office is getting more staffed up, which is great. So just some feedback is that in the 5-ish years that we've had you guys here, we've had more than 5 deputies cycle through. So there's just potential that we have, within one contract period, we have 2 to 3 different people cycle through. They all get all their vacation days. They could all get their sick days. So it's, thank you for the answer. And it's understandable and it's what I expected, but just some feedback from contract cities that have those full-time employees. Technically, like it's a contract employee. So in a lot of situations where they're able, they do some backfilling. But I know we can count on a rural patrol to be
Yeah.
coverage all the time.
I can honestly tell you, as long as I've been here, which is a long time, May 1st, I'll have 30 years in PERS and I can retire. But I can tell you that we've never left a contract city hanging without any additional service, whether it means, like I said, we pulled lieutenants to go work in Sheridan. Our lieutenant was working in Sheridan 2 days a week. So we don't like to see that those hours not get filled, and they're being filled. I can guarantee you that rural patrol comes in and it's not as consistent. You're not seeing the same person. There's some contracts that you don't get a name, you get hours. And that's it. Otherwise, you can go out and get your own PD. Sure, you can
Yeah.
get your own police department, and then you get to handle everything that comes with it. We're not that way. You know, we like to assign specific deputies, so you have a face and a name, and they become part of your community. I mean, who wouldn't love that face? You know, you got Vandy on daytime. So anyways, I guess to circle back to your
Yeah.
question, we will never leave you hanging. If he breaks something and he's going to be out for an extended time, we would do our best to replace it. And a lot of times what we'll say is, guess what? You get to work in the city, no suspect contact, but you're taking every phone call that comes in, you're handling every ordinance thing, whatever you can handle by phone, that's what you're getting. In
Yeah.
addition to rural patrol coming in and helping out to take the hot calls. So
Well, we appreciate the consistency and then also the visibility. I know that was something council asked a couple years ago, is just being present around like our events and the friendly face, and we do see that, so.
well, we gave you the tallest guy we have, Van de Wettering. So. There's your presence. He's not as tall as you, but he's close. Yeah.
Pretty close. Any other questions?
I did, and now I've forgotten it.
And if you have questions later, feel free to email them or ask. I will take your suggestion of the percentages and correlating that so people can see it. I have a difficult time seeing those small things too. To be honest with you, she changed a few things for me, which was an upgrade.
And this is an upgrade. It's great. You know,
yeah.
it's really nice, but.
Well, I haven't laid my eyes on that one. That was like literally get it done. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you
Thanks for
all.
having me.
I remembered, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Council has considered a speed radar. What are they
The
called?
photo radar.
Yes.
Yeah,
How does,
that would be awesome.
okay. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's what I would tell you. Do your homework. We're happy to assist in that process. With it being a state highway, I know there's some ODOT things you have to take in consideration. I know Newburgh just had theirs redone, and it's right on the state highway. So that would be a good resource to reach out to as a city manager up in Newburgh and say what hurdles. I just think it's a great idea because you've got 24/7. We would have to figure out the back end, how we're going to process that. It's a good way to catch speeders and people, whatever you set that at, you know, with the school being gone now, it's not as
But it's
not
still
as fun anymore.
25.
But it's still 20. Yeah, it's not as fun, but it's still 25. Yeah, we've had a couple discussions about this when I was here, and I don't hate the idea. I actually love the idea. So whatever we can do to assist in that process, let us know. But it would obviously have to be sparked by council and the city itself, because I don't know what the parameters are, the legalities of things. But man, that sure would be awesome.
Thank
I'd
you.
love it.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you. Think Sheriff Elliott for us as
I
well,
will.
please.
The city's up because he's
Alright.
a busy guy.
Yes.
Were there any questions from the counselors online?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Then I have no questions from Councilor Blanco.
Okay.
That was 8 minutes ago, though. So if it's changed, please let me know.
We will move on to our next item of new business, council goal adoption. So this is the accumulation of our day of goal setting here at the end of February. We are presented in our packet with the council goals and objectives. Nathan, do you want to do a high level overview of what we're seeing, how we're seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, it's broken down into each goal that we talked about. Those goals the overarching goals have stayed the same. But then the objectives within them were changed a little bit. But we went through that process with Brian, the facilitator, and essentially came up with all the objectives, and then we're able to prioritize a number of them with our dot voting, but those prioritized objectives are the bold ones. I meant to bold all the numbers too, but the, so for example, goal 2 didn't have any high priority objectives, but then goal 3 did, 3.2, to complete a street lighting survey. And that one is bolded, so. Yeah. And then it continues on to, it's kind of a large spreadsheet, which is why it showed up in your packet as 4 different papers or 4 different pages. They do match up though with the number in that left-hand column that correlates with the objective number. And then it gives this staff internally a way to kind of organize and say, all right, who's taking responsibility for this one? What's kind of our plan to address each of these? So.
Are we gonna have our goals published as a one pager that's easy for citizens and the website and okay.
I know, I'm trying to remember, did I get it down to 1 page last
Well,
year?
maybe not one page,
2
but you know what I mean.
pages? Yeah.
Do you
Outside of a
not
grid.
feel like this? It needs to be more easily digestible.
I think this is a nice, just with the explanation and like full one with the immediate with the portables.
Mm-hmm. But that's not written on here. Yeah.
With that.
I can add that note, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had talked about the ongoing and like the aspirational goals being attached to this. I just bring it up because again, I don't want it to get lost.
He gave me an appendix sheet. I should have included it here. There's an appendix sheet that I put all of those into.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind, when you do share it publicly, can you share it with council as well?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's important because we have highlighted that those are things that are important to us on an ongoing basis, that the general public see that like these things are on our radar.
Yeah.
Any questions or concerns?
No questions or concerns, but I appreciated Brian very much with the way he helped us facilitate that. And I enjoyed the way he helped keep us on target. And I enjoyed Brian a lot. It was good.
Yes. Nathan, if you could again pass our thanks along to him.
Yes, absolutely.
Any questions or comments from those online? Counselors? Okay. Do I have a motion this evening on our council goals?
Motion to adopt the Amity City Council goals for 2026.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the Amity City Council goals for 2026. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please signify by saying no. Motion passes. We will move on to our last item of new business, updating the Amity fee schedule. So this is something that we should be reviewing on an annual basis. We had a work session and the topic of discussion was making sure we're covering the actual cost for the services that we provide and that we pay contract service providers for. So it looks like staff went through one by one and we have a revised fee schedule in front of us. Nathan, do you have any further explanation on any of them that you'd like to share right off the bat?
I don't think so. There were a number of sections that we talked about as a group, removing things that maybe the city had no control over, and adjustments. And Tasha and I went through, and anything that was different, or made minor changes to some of the administrative fees. But most of the change was within that building, land use and development section. And really it was just updating that deposit amount for a lot of them. We did suggest a fee for each of them, and it increased the fee slightly on some. There were some that we didn't. Many of them we pulled straight from COG's recommendation to Jervis. There were others that we didn't quite go that far, like the home occupation. I think sign permit ended up close. Some of those things we felt that in our experience we'd seen less time needed than they were suggesting, but ultimately, I mean, they all still have that deposit on them, and so and the section explains that additional costs will be billed against that deposit, and that there may be additional follow-up bills. That was the main change that we made. That, and then just cleaning up some of the ones that we no longer offered or had control over. So
Library fees, that kind of thing. I like the acknowledgement. I think it spells it out clearly what we're trying to do. And I know that some of those deposits have really jumped up, but we're under the assumption that that is the price you guys see them coming in at
no.
for final billing. So I feel like it's more fair and transparent to be realistic from the get-go than to ask for a deposit of a couple $100 and then hit someone with thousands of dollars in fees at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate them. Really.
The only change that I would offer up is in the acknowledgement form. The last sentence of the third paragraph. If the deposit amount paid in advance exceeds the actual contract, then upon request, I would just put written, because you've put written in these other sections. And so just make it really clear that they have to not just say, hey, I want my deposit back, but that you need something in writing. Just so it's consistent. But I think this is great, and I know it probably took a lot of work to go through, and it's nice to feel like it's more transparent, because I think that's the biggest complaint we've heard back, is that it's just getting more and more expensive, or they didn't know that it would cost this much, that kind of thing. So this is quite a bit more upfront.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
And this will be updated on our website as well.
Mhm.
Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, I will ask for a motion if there's no further discussion.
Motion to adopt resolution 2026-01, a resolution repealing resolution 2025-03 and adopting revised fees and charges.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2026-01, a resolution repealing resolution 2025-03 and adopting revised fees and charges. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. That was our last item of new business, so we will move on to department reports. We'll start with our city administrator. Do you have anything to add?
Trying to think if I have anything outside of this. As always, if there's any questions, please let me know. Um,
Any grammar updates?
oh, that's a great question. Not since the email last week, no. Um, the latest update I got, like I said, was that email that I received from them that something about the rails themselves were smaller than normal. I I know it was. I wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure if they were talking about the main track or the spur. Anyway, I asked for clarification, and I still have not heard back. I did note that they've moved all of their railroad ties. Yeah, I'm not sure if that means they're done in some of this area, or if they just moved them somewhere else to work elsewhere. So I'm still working on following up with them. I will make sure to continue calling and emailing them, but try to get a clear answer. But unfortunately, it seems like it may not pan out. So
But regardless, they will be improving their tracks up to their standards. So we should see improvement.
that's still my understanding,
Okay.
unless worst case scenario. Again, still my understanding, assuming they didn't change their project and
Skip Amity.
skip Amity somehow. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the weather becoming nicer again, are we gonna start putting out our radar sign or the speed sign?
I think it has been out. Yeah. I don't know where they have it right now, but I know they said this morning that they moved it. So,
Awesome.
yes.
Well, and I think especially targeting just the random neighborhoods,
Mhm.
we might not all see it
Right.
all the time, but I think that that's helpful because we do hear complaints from all over random intersections where we can't necessarily have the deputies sitting. So as long as it's moving about, that's good news.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Nathan? Tasha, we got your report. Do you have anything to add? Public Works report. Was there any questions on that? Or I'm sorry, questions for Tasha or questions on the Public Works report? We saw Ann's library report, city engineering billing and city attorney planning report by the COG. Any questions on those? Hearing none, we'll move on to business from the mayor and city councilors. For the good of the order, President Borges.
Um, we do have city cleanup coming on the 18th, so volunteers are always appreciated. If anyone wants to be there the day of, it's very helpful to help unload cars and get that line continuously moving because it is a busy time. So that's on the 18th. And Daffodil Festival was great. It ended up being really fun and nice, and the weather warmed up and we got some sun. All the music was great across the street, and I think our businesses saw a boom that day.
Yeah, it was a really great day. Thank you. Counselor Shields, do you have anything for the good of the order?
I have nothing to add.
Counselor Thompson?
None.
Counselor Rachel Blanco?
Nothing to add.
Counselor Luker?
Nothing to add.
And Counselor Michael Blanco?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Mayor's report and final comments. I don't know if you've all seen it come through in your email, but the Ethics Commission sent out their yearly email. So our statement of economic interest is due before April 15th. Pretty easy to follow instructions. They just want to make sure that you don't have any undue economic interest, that you're gaining financial benefit from your volunteer position here in local government. But there are fines and consequences for not filling out that very quick form they send you. So please get that in. I had down the Festival, the cleanup day, and then we also have Shred Day coming up on the 25th. I think we're going to be doing some City Hall plus clean out around that time as well. So if you have some free time and want to help clean up here at City Hall, check in with Nathan and staff and put you to work. The last thing I wanted to bring up is I received some information about a Veterans Day parade, which is not until November. I was asked informally last year if the city of Amity wanted to participate. There was a lot of Yamhill County cities that did, but I was out of the state at that time, so I just kind of let it pass. But they're asking early, and they're asking us to send in an application, but really just a form if there's interest from the city of Amity. So it's held in McMinnville, but it's for all to celebrate all Yamhill County veterans. And it's just a walking parade. We could wear shirts, walk in it. I wanted to check if there was interest from any of council to do that. I know it's a long ways off. I will probably be walking in it in my City of Amity shirt. So, unless there's opposition to that. Okay, so I will just keep bringing it up as we get closer, as long as there's no opposition for me just putting, yes, City of Amity will try our best to have a presence. Okay. That is really all I had for this evening.
Councilor Blanco added that he will go.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I'll keep that, keep us updated. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned at 6:58. Thank you.